is a presentation of the iRacing Esports Network.
I want to leap over buildings, want to fly over the shores, faster than a lightning flash, rushing through the cool night air. So start ignition, count to zero. I just wanna be a superhero. So start ignition, count to zero. I just wanna be a superhero.
What a season of thrills and thrills. From the excitement of an ambiguous inaugural first round, we had chaos, drama, final lap overtakes for victory, championship lead changes. And now the fight for glory continues to the beginning of the end as we welcome you to the Daytona International Speedway, located in Daytona Beach, Florida, which hosts round 11, the final round of the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series. All coverage today is on RaceSpotTV, streaming live on the iRacing Esports Network around the 1.39 kilometer, 0.864 mile layout of Daytona. 9 curious corners out there on the racetrack. It's the third time we head to Daytona this season. The second time we use the long layout, and it begins with a dirt section that includes a difficult entry onto the jump. Minimal traction through this entire sector. They head onto tarmac with a tight right-handed hairpin. The Joker lap cuts to the inside of the final corner and saves the drivers vital few seconds during the race. Good afternoon, everybody. Jonathan Simon on hand in the commentary booth alongside Randolph Cheneth for this final round. Hugo Luis behind the scenes in production. We're now currently in qualifying, Randy, with just a minute or so to go. The championship, though, goes down to the wire between two drivers. That is Mitchell de Jong and Joni Heikkinen. Mitchell is the driver in form at the moment. Joni is the one starting the chase. He lost the championship lead last round. He's got a lot of work to do here at Daytona.
It's either of their games really coming into this. Just 4 points separating your top two. 682 for Mitchell, 678 for Joni Heikkinen coming into this final round. And really the points discussion picks up early with points being awarded from qualifying into the heats and in the feature. We basically have to follow that championship format all the way through this event, Johnny. And we have the graphics to do so, as we will be following their points, gains, and losses all evening tonight.
And Josh Fox there, who's third position on screen, Randy, he has been ever impressive this season. He's taken a feature race victory to go with that. And if he had about 15 extra points, he'd also be in contention for the championship in this final round.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for Josh. He had to miss one of those races earlier on in the season, but he still made himself a very, very relevant force to be reckoned with. And I think going into 2019, as long as he can be there all season long, he is going to be a huge, huge factor when it comes to that season and that championship.
So prizes on offer, as we know. The winner of this series will earn $10,000 of US cash. Well, 10,000 US dollars to say it more specifically. And it could be either Mitchell de Jong or Joni Heikkinen. Second place will, of course, earn $3,000 cash as well. And, you know, it's such a big prize pool, Randy. I know these drivers aren't in it for the money, but that is quite critical, of course, because, you know, it does make a huge difference to these sim races.
I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong, even if they are here for the money. So, that's fair play to them as we get ready to start this first heat race here. I think somewhat interestingly, we're going to see both their championship contenders in opposing heats, which means that they could potentially hit the same points count in their each of their heat races.
Yep, the Heat 1 grid, there it was at the bottom of the screen. It's going to include Mitchell de Jong and Josh Fox, along with Stelian Cheplevsky on the front row, followed by Jorgi Zadzon, Thomas Gerstenberg, and Nathan Lyon, Cedric Gesmeyer, Philip Diaz, and Michael Guest to round out the 9-car field. This is a very strong Heat 1 grid, Randy, and here we go. The tough run down to turn 1. It bottlenecks for all drivers.
Yeah, it does, and it's like you said, a tough heat race here. Josh Fox, Stelian Cheplevsky, Jorgi Zadzon, a lot of important names that have not won a race yet this season are set in this opening heat race. So for Mitchell de Jong, he wants to win this so he can try to maximize the points advantage he has going into the feature. But man, oh man, there's a lot of big names he has to deal with. And one that has a lot of momentum right now, that 5 machine.
And there's Mitchell de Jong on screen in the orange and purple VRS Commander SimSport car. 6 points to his name. He achieved pole position in qualifying. So that's 6 points on the way to potentially a world championship here in Rallycross for iRacing. Lights illuminate, engines rev for the final Heat 1 event of the season. We go green from Daytona. Rapid start from the entire top 3. It looks like de Jong, though, will have track advantage, and de Jong will lead into the first corners. The 2 Fusion Racing drivers are Fox and Cheplevsky, quite passive heading into the first couple corners. Cheplevsky battling quite hard. We ride on board with Thomas Gerstenberg. Oh, a slight bit of contact over the jump, and he's lost an immense amount of time heading into the dirt section.
Cedric Gesmeyer is a big loser after that first trip up and down the jump. He ended up getting spun around as Mitchell de Jong heads himself into the hairpin for the first time. He has himself a few car lengths over Josh Fox as Cheplevsky gets a little bit of a touch from Jorgi Zadzon behind. 3-4 cars all lined up as they run down towards the Joker. Let's see who takes it on this opening lap. No surprise, the 24 hits that shortcut first.
And look at Cheplevsky. He also takes to the Joker lap. Where's he going to appear? Has a look at his mirrors there. You can see using virtual reality, and he just edges ahead here of his teammate Josh Fox. That's going to cost Fox quite a bit amount of time, and look at the drivers form up over the jump as well. But Josh Fox right now, he's got to make his way past Cheplevsky ASAP and take to the Joker this lap round.
Yeah, he definitely does. Josh Fox is not going to be loving this, especially with it being a teammate that just comes out in front of them. They're going to run now down this high-speed sector of the racetrack, high-speed sector on any of the Rallycross tracks we have, I believe, as we come down into the Joker. And instantly enough, no, Josh Fox not going to go to the shortcut. So maybe these two believe, Johnny, that Stelian can get out in front of Josh and they can both try to reel in that number 24 of Mitchell de Jong. If that's the case, it's no harm, no foul for Josh Fox. But if Stelian in any way holds him up, that's not great as Jorgi's awkward over the jump. We got one car just jumped over the wall.
Oh, God, a car over the wall. That's ridiculous. That looks like the driver of Michael Guest. I don't think he can even rejoin the racetrack right now. So Zadzon, you can see, had a slowdown. Guest did the same thing. Oh, my God, that's hilarious, Randy. I've never seen that ever in Rallycross. He's out of the event as well. He's out of the entire racetrack. That's 1990s video game worthy as Fox takes to the Joker.
And Josh Fox is going to come down for the shortcut and easily clear Stelian, but look at the amount of time he's lost to that 24 car. So this is dream situation for your points leader coming into this here, Johnny, because with taking pole position and potentially winning this heat race, that's going to maximize the amount of points he pretty much has going into the feature with as an advantage over Joni Heikkinen is now, if assuming he does finish this thing out with a lap and some change to go. That means Joni Heikkinen can be no less than 10 points shy of that 24 car, and that's a number of positions in the pocket for that 24 machine.
Yeah, that's very critical. So we'll wait and see later on. We do know the top 2 from this race will advance to the feature, and that's critical for Cheplevsky right now, who tried to cost his teammate a slight bit of time, but it looks like Cheplevsky will head to the Consolation race as we head into the final lap. 5 of 5 for this first and final Heat 1 race of the season. We have a second heat here today. We won't have 3 heats, but heading into these final couple of corners, de Jong has driven splendidly here to begin the final round. Pole position and unscathed going into the first corner. And here he is for the final time through the final corner for Heat 1. De Jong is straight through to the feature. That's what he needs. for his championship challenge. Fox will join him there. The rest of the drivers will head to the Consolation races. That includes Cheplevsky and Zadzon. Look at your final race results that appear on screen right now. There we go. Lion, of course, will end up in fourth. Zadzon, that slowdown, Randy, will cost him critical grid position after he just skipped the jump.
Yeah, that's not going to be great for him whatsoever, but still, your top couple drivers getting the way directly to the feature race, they're going to dig it as we get ready for Heat 2.
The Heat 2 grid is about to appear on screen, and it will include the driver of Johan Hart on the inside line. There is Hart 3 joining right now in the race clutch car. Winner as well, Johan Hart now. Part of this series, he'll be joined by Joni Heikkinen on the front row. It hasn't appeared on screen. Then Lowe, Shine, Zelensky, Parisi, Bob King, and Logan Clampett to round out your 8-car grid. Final heat in the season. We go green for Heat 2. Heikkinen screams away and already into the first corner, or into the last corner, into first position. Gets a huge tap from Johan Hart. Where's Heikkinen going to end up at the end of this? It looks like Hart with that tap may actually file himself into the lead. Heikkinen ultra aggressive here. They're still slicing and dicing for the battle for that first position. And in the end, it looks like Joni Heikkinen will take the honors of first place.
What a move by Joni Heikkinen after the landing and the jump. I think that move by Johan into the last corner was a little bit naughty, that bump and run he gave Joni, but Joni set him up absolutely beautifully. And what a risk for him in order to make that move, Johnny, because if he doesn't transfer here, he not only loses out in points potentially in this heat race, but potentially not making the feature altogether if he couldn't have got it done and dusted it through the LCQ. But he managed to hold his nerve, gets the pass done cleanly, and he has the race lead over Johan Hart. That is those are the moves that championships are made of.
Heikkinen, that was a smart joker lap as well. He's taken to it along with Johan Hart, and that will mean he will remain in the first position. The rest of the drivers behind still battling away. The likes of Bobby Zelensky is a bit behind here from Garrett Lowe in the fourth position. Zelensky now really is driving that Subaru. He made the switch mid-season, and it's an interesting switch for Zelensky this late.
Yeah, it is. As you know, for Zelensky, we've seen him in the Volkswagen pretty much all year. We're going to get another driver hitting the Joker. It's going to be Connor Parisi. We just need to see where he comes out. It's going to be just behind Johan Hart. As you see on the bottom of your screen, the points currently as they run, and it would be a 7-point differential between Mitchell DeJong and Joni Heikkinen. That means that Joni would have to finish 3 cars ahead of Mitchell in the feature, because remember, it's 3 cars per position all the way up and down the field. So Heikkinen, he still has a lot of work to do, but doing a good job in this heat, trying to minimize the damage and minimize the gap that Mitchell was able to open up during qualifying. What do you see?
Sorry, Zelensky's turned around.
Big
so there was contact. Clampett as well involved. There's a bit of a pile-up going on. Let's have a look at the replay here. So it was Bobby Zelensky in the braking zone who got ever close to Julian Shine, gave him a tap, and then, of course, Clampett behind just had all the momentum, and behind there was Bob King as well, who had nowhere to go. So just a bit of a domino effect there, Randy. Nothing to really be a bit angry about.
Yeah, I don't particularly like playing dominoes with my race cars, but I think overall, kind of done and dusted as they currently work. As Heikkinen works into the hairpin for the 4th of 5 trips, you still see Johan Hart trying to reel that gap down and in as they continue to work around this racetrack. So it'll be white flag lap this time, but Joni has about a full second under his hat on that 90 car of Johan Hart, and I think that gap may have come out a little bit more on this lap. So it's all in the hand of the Finn in that number 3 car for this final lap.
Heikkinen looks quick out there, it has to be said. He probably made a few mistakes in qualifying. He was quick here in round 1 around the long layout. So there's no question he'd be quick around here again to end the season. He's an ever-improved driver. He just doesn't have the form that he would have liked going into these rounds. The last 2 rounds for him have just been dominated by Mitchell DeJong. Definitely dropped the confidence of the Finn. But Heikkinen here through the final sector will advance straight through to the feature along with Johan Hart. 2 of these guys have won a number of races between them this season, and they are rightly so advanced straight through to the feature. 4 race winners advancing straight through to the feature today here at Daytona. Garrett Lowe will advance to the Consolation races coming up soon. There are the results on screen with Connor Parisi in the 4th position and Shine in 5th. Zelensky, with that collision in the end, ended up in 7th, but he'll still have another shot here, Randy, in the C main.
Yep, he definitely will. Still 2 LCQs for us to see how they pan out. That'll dictate pretty much the vast majority of the grid. 3 from the first one, 3 from the second one, and I don't know. It's every single one of these races, Johnny. It's crazy LCQs, and we got another crazy lineup here for the C main.
Yeah, Chepelevsky will start from first, and he will be joined by Georgi Zadzon in the second position. On the front row alongside those two will be Phil Diaz, and then they'll be followed by Nathan Lyon, Thomas Gerstenberg, and Cedric Gesmeyer, who I can't believe Cedric Gesmeyer is still a privateer in this series. It is just ridiculous all season. Someone sign him up.
Start a team, Johnny.
I'll start a team, exactly. Simon Cheneth Racing.
That sounds like failure to me.
Yeah, we won't do that. But here we go. First consolation race of the final round. The top 3 will advance to the feature, so there's a 50% chance for these drivers that they will head to the important feature race. Lights illuminate for 5 laps of action. We go green for the C main. Diaz, rapid start in the NX racing car. Chepelevsky is now a roadblock in front of him. So Chepelevsky is only in the second position. He did start this race from the advantageous starting position on pole. But right behind them, it'll be edge to close between Georgi Zadzon, who can't find a way through. Zadzon now into third.
Nice clean start here in this C main. It's worked the way up towards the hairpin. It's Diaz, Chepelevsky, Zadzon, Lyon, Gesmeyer, Gerstenberg. The entire field, they run through the hairpin. Let's see who's going to opt for this Joker first. Definitely expect that race leader of Phil Diaz and potentially even Stillian to come down on that Joker. So I think Stillian might just keep it out here. No, he's going to take this shortcut early. Georgi, Nathan Lyon, as well as Cedric Gesmeyer, they will take the normal lap. Thomas Gerstenberg will join your top 2 on the shortcut.
Oh, this is going to be close between Gerstenberg here and Zadzon. Gerstenberg, though, only into the 4th position. That is not good for his chances to head to the feature race. Oh, goodness gracious. Zadzon right now is a roadblock for him. There's no way past for Gerstenberg, and Gerstenberg has trouble because the Nexus Esports car of Nathan Lyon searching for the inside. We could see a brilliant move here from Nathan Lyon. And out of the hairpin as well. Gesmeyer also having a look around it. Still alongside each other. Huge contact between the two, and they're both in the wall.
Come down onto that S's section that follows the first corner of the actual Daytona road course, and much like we've seen some awkward incidents happen there in real life, we get another one right here. Cedric Gesmeyer and Thomas Gerstenberg, their seasons are going to end pretty much in the wall.
There was the replay on screen. It was just an avoidable incident, has to be said. Look at the battle, though, for the lead here between Chepelevsky and Phil Diaz. Stallion going for the first position. Oh, Scandinavian flick doesn't work out for him because Phil Diaz will have the adequate exit. But they have to remember that the top 3 advance. They can't risk anything here. These two also have to remember, Randy, that Zadzon has not taken the Joker lap yet.
Yeah, no, he's not. No, he's not. Georgi is not taking that shortcut. And I think he's reeled in enough time that he will at least jump Stillian when he actually takes that shortcut. Whether or not he's going to jump Phil Diaz remains to be seen. But Nathan Lyon is doing a great job reeling in this little fight as well, and he's not taking the shortcut either. So both of these drivers, they can play spoiler to one of these two who currently lead this this C main. They need to be relatively careful here in these top 2 spots, but they are right about on the brink of potentially having given up too much time with that little side-by-side fight they had last lap.
And Zadzon won't take this lap, so he'll have to use it in the final lap. There is the driver of Nathan Lyon, who could spoil the party for Georgi Zadzon. And he might do this exactly, yep. Not really, actually. I don't think Zadzon is close enough to be impeded by him, but we saw this, Randy, at Daytona short midway through the season. The feature race went down to the final lap, and the Joker lap took place. Zadzon could find himself a spot in the feature here if he plays this to perfection.
I think he's going to have this pretty easily as they come down to take the checkered. Phil Diaz and Phil and Chepelevsky far enough apart, there won't be anything there. Georgi just has to have a clean Joker, and he'll have himself a transfer spot as Phil just needs a clean hairpin, and he should win this LCQ.
So Diaz straight through to the feature along with Chepelevsky, and Zadzon with the Joker on the final lap will jump ahead of Nathan Lyon, breaking the Nexus Esports driver's heart. And he is out of the event here. Out for the season is Nathan Lyon along with Thomas Gerstenberg and Cedric Gesmeyer. So those three, we say so long, and we'll hopefully see them again in 2019. Good season for those three nevertheless. We'll head straight through to the second consolation race now and look at the grid. That grid will include Garrett Lowe in the front row, along with Connor Parisi and Julian Shine. They'll be followed by Logan Clampett and Bobby Zelensky, who collided in the heat race. Bob King and Michael Guest will round out the field. Michael Guest, the other Nexus Esports car, will start from 7th and last. Lights illuminate. We go green for the final consolation race of the season. Oh, already contact on the start line. Zelensky's turned around. Something to look at later on for sure, but into the first corner, Garrett Lowe looks unscathed. What a great start from Michael Guest. He started the consolation race from 7th. He's up in a second.
What an opening lap for Michael Guest, as he's going to have an interesting little landing on the jump there. Everyone's going to get it pretty much single filed out. Bob King's going to make a move for second spot, and Michael Guest is going to get shoved way out onto the racetrack, and he's going to go from 7th up to 2nd and back down to what I believe will be 5th when it's all said and done, while Garrett Lowe in the Fusion Racing car will be running away with this B-main.
Parisi and Clampett look close together. Oh, turn around is Parisi. He may have touched with Michael Guest as well. Guest is probably furious at this stage after being shoved out of the way by Bob King. Shine somehow managed to make his way through without damage. Here's the replay on screen, and Parisi, just straight into the bollard. And there was Shine. I don't think Julian Shine made contact with anyone at the end of the day, Randy. Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, these guys, this twice now, Johnny, that we've just seen people have absolutely no patience going through those S's, because it's a point of the racetrack that's difficult to go side by side, but people seem to have the attitude that, oh, well, if I'm a little bit ahead, that means I'm obligated to the race line. And we've seen 2 cars now pretty much pit maneuver themselves and end their races. So these guys, I know they're in sort of a last chance race, as Logan Clampett's going to take the shortcut on your screen, should jump up to the 3rd spot on the racetrack, but you need to have a little bit of patience with yourself and not just end your race in the opening lap of a qualifier like that. Yeah, so Clampett in that lockdown racing car in the 3rd position. The top 3 again from this consolation race will advance to the feature, and I'll fill out the rest of that 10-car field for the final feature race of the season. King seemed to run wide there, but he maintains the 2nd position. Still only lap 35, plenty of time remaining. How about Julian Shine, though? He's looking quick here behind Clampett. There they are on screen as they scream towards the camera. Shine going for the inside here for P4. Julian Shine, the Belgian, with a poised maneuver into that 3rd position.
What a move by Julian, but his LCQ isn't over yet, because that side-by-side fight helped that red Nexus Esports car behind of Michael Guest. Remember, Michael got involved in that opening little bump and run through that first lap. He went way, way down the order. He currently sits 5th with these 2 cars in front of him, and he is well within the 3-second margin on the shortcut, and Bob King is making mistakes as well. I think for Mr. Michael Guest, he's going to jump his way all the way up to P2 when he eventually takes the shortcut, and I think he should do it right now.
He doesn't go for it. Clampett behind is ready to race. Clampett's been very respectful today, it has to be said. He does, though, Randy, I notice, into the hairpin, he carries a lot more speed compared to other drivers. And as I said, he's been very impressive. He's tried to avoid contact. We saw the domino effect that happened last round. Here again now, just talking about that. Shoves 2 drivers out of the way. Clampett, the beneficiary. King turned around. That could be his season over.
Yeah, it definitely could. And there's going to be some people, I think, maybe frustrated with that move. But these guys are going to run their way down to the checkered flag. Now Michael Guest taking the Joker is not going to really change anything, because Julian Shine's already behind him anyway. So as they run down in towards the final corners, it's Garrett Lowe, Logan Clampett, and it should be Mr. Michael Guest to get your way through the C-main.
Yeah, Guest with the Joker there on the final lap will head through as well to the feature race. We'll have a look at the results on screen in just a second's time, but Clampett, we'll hear the results now on screen. Logan Clampett will advance as well, and a late maneuver by Logan Clampett will head his way to the feature race. Goodbye to Shine, Zelensky, Bob King, unfortunately, who was looking good, as well as Connor Parisi. And we head to the warm-up here, Randy. We'll look at the championship challenge between De Jong and Heikkinen, because that is the important fight going in to the final feature race of the season.
Yeah, I mean, that's really the big one, isn't it? 7 points between them. You see it right there. And like I said, it's 3 points for every position. 70 if you win, 67 in 2nd, 64 in 3rd. So that means that for Joni Heikkinen, he basically has to win this race and have 2 people between him and Mitchell de Jong in order to take this championship.
Oh, I mean, I just don't even know. They both deserve to win it, right? Like, I'm going to feel sorry for whoever doesn't, but it was just such a great season for the both of them. And I really hope at the end of the day we have a clean battle and it doesn't go down to any DNFs or anything of the liking.
Well, it's one of those things in Rallycross we can see happen. I mean, just look what happened in that last LCQ. Things were just getting thrown back and forth. We saw that last second kind of move by Logan Clampett. That was, you know, maybe a little bit on the questionable side with that contact through the last lap. We saw it in the initial LCQ as well. So, you know, things can get physical in this form of racing. Mitchell, of course, has done this in real life. He knows it, should know it better than anyone. He's won championships in Rallycross before. He's been in this situation. He should be able to close this out, but still, it's going to be a hectic handful of laps till we get to that, till we get this thing all sorted.
Mitchell de Jong, a real-life Rallycross driver. He's raced the past few years as well. He's an up-and-rising talent in the real world of motorsports. For Heikkinen, a very exciting sim racer. He's won competitions and has been given a shot in real-world racing cars and is impressed as well. These two of the best in the world in Rallycross and online racing, and they battle it out here for the final time this season for round 11 from Daytona for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series. We'll save all our thank yous for the end of the event, but I have to say, first of all, if you've enjoyed the season, we have too at RaceSpotTV and the iRacing Esports Network. It's been such a delightful campaign. Let's have a look at your feature race grid for the final time. It includes Mitchell de Jong in the front row alongside his championship challenger of Joni Heikkinen. Josh Fox will join them on the front row. How about that for a top three? They'll be followed by Johan Hart, race winner from last round at Phoenix, along with Bill Diaz and Stelian Chepelevsky. The rest of the field will include Georgi Zadzon, Garrett Lowe, Michael Guest, and Logan Clampett. 10 laps of action coming up. One joker available to the drivers. Oh, what a season it's been. It's already nostalgic, but it's not come to an end yet for 2018. Who will be victor? Will it be VRS Coanda Sim Sports, Mitchell de Jong, or how about Sim Gears, Joni Heikkinen in the Volkswagen? The lights will illuminate for the final time. 10 laps of action. Engines rev. And we go green from Daytona. Rapid start from Heikkinen. He's trying to squeeze de Jong into the final corner. The two touch and collide, but they still maintain the cars in a straight line, and it looks like de Jong will lead heading over the start-finish line for the first time in his feature race. Heikkinen in second. Oh, that became ultra tight.
Mentally, that's going to be a big boost to the American and Mitchell de Jong as they work through this first section of corners. The entire field, line astern, everyone running in this main event side by side between Zadzon and Chepelevsky through the hairpin. The likes of Garrett Lowe, Michael Guest, Logan Clampett getting stacked up behind that as they come down to the joker for the first time. Mitchell, we can expect for him to take the shortcut. Joni should do the opposite, but no, he's going to come out down here and do this, and I think this is a misplay from here, Johnny. I don't think there's any way Joni Heikkinen is going to be able to pass Mitchell on pure speed. That could have just won Mitchell the championship right there.
It could have, but you have to look at the other way as well, Randy. I have to say, Heikkinen wants to put the pressure on de Jong. Just remember, Heikkinen needs to win this race. No matter how far he finishes behind de Jong, he's going to lose the championship. And there again, tight line into the hairpin. It became so close between the two championship challengers. But at the end of the day, de Jong with that wider line into the hairpin has to be careful. That's the second time this feature race that Heikkinen has done that. He's having a look at every piece of racetrack he can find to file himself into the lead.
Joni's trying to do anything as drivers take the shortcut behind. We see Josh Fox coming off of the joker. He's going to shuffle in the line behind Johan Hart in that race clutch car as they work through this tight double right-hander once again. Joni's going to get it straightened up a little bit earlier. That's actually going to help him out. He's done a good job. This half of the lap is going to send it down the inside. Maybe a little bit of contact at the hairpin. He's trying everything he can. He's going to try to move Mitchell perhaps, but he's being very respectful about it, Johnny. He's just a light tap on the back end of that Coanda machine. Wasn't a send for sure.
Oh, this is nerve-wracking for the American of Mitchell de Jong. Any spin here could cost him the championship. We know Heikkinen has to win and de Jong has to finish. fourth or worse for Heikkinen to win the championship. At the moment, De Jong will be crowned champion. Points are updated as well, Randy, and at the moment, Heikkinen has a lot of work to do.
Yeah, he does. It's a 10-point advantage that Mitchell de Jong has as they run, as they work down into the hairpin. Once again, you see Yoni taking a much shorter line, and look at what that gets Mitchell de Jong on the exit, though. Yoni's so tight and so fast on the exit that Mitchell opens up 10 car lengths down here to the hairpin. That's going to give a huge advantage to the Coanda Simsport driver as they work through these final sequence of corners once again. Top three as they run, Mitchell, Heikkinen, and Johan Hart. Top five at being Josh Fox and actually Phil Diaz. He's had a pretty awesome finale here tonight as well, Johnny. Having a great top five performance for him. What'd you see?
And Josh Fox has been slow over the jump, so I'm not sure if that was a slowdown. I believe it was. Josh Fox may have cut to the inside of that second bollard and lost a slight bit of time, but no positions. Chebolevsky spun around on screen. So, moment for Chebolevsky. Oh, there we go. Oh, he's collided there, of course, with, I think that was Michael Guest. And Chebolevsky actually rolled onto his roof as well. Not the best final round for Stelliani.
No, I mean, that's just been the sort of tale of his championship, hasn't it? It's been, he'll have a really, really good race, and then he'll have a bad one. He'll have a really good race, and then he'll have a bad one. And he sort of kept up that rhythm all the way through this championship, unfortunately. I think he'll be a force to be reckoned with. Once 2019 comes around, he's shown what he's capable of when he has those good races. Just needs to try to cut down on the bad ones as much as he can. As Yoni's going to try everything once again at the hairpin. That's going to give Mitchell such a huge run. Actually, no, Yoni manages it quite well. Doesn't let the 24 run away too much.
Two different styles, two different personalities, and two different drivers fighting for the championship here. Lap 6 of 10. It's coming to an end, but it hasn't ended completely. They'll cross the start-finish line one more time. We'll begin lap 7 of 10 here for the final time of what has been a remarkable season. For Heikkinen, it's slipping away from every corner and every lap. The trophy is starting to etch its name with Mitchell de Jong. And there we see the lap driver there. I think that's Yogi Zadzon taking off the racetrack, just off the racing line, and he's got a lot of damage, so he's out of the event. But for Heikkinen, you can just see every corner. It just seems to be slipping away from him, Randy. He'll just hope for everything to go his way here in these final few laps. But I don't think it's going to be enough.
Well, it's a big way, isn't it? Because it's not only the difference between him passing Mitchell and not, that he has to pass Mitchell, and then he has to hope that Johan Hart passes Mitchell, and then he has to hope that Josh Fox passes Mitchell. And that's the big mental advantage right now for Mitchell, that he can sit here, and if Yoni Heikkinen throw the big move into the hairpin, Mitchell can take finishing second place tonight with the way that this night of racing has really panned itself out, and that's going to be the huge advantage. Now, whether or not Mitchell knows that, I'd be very surprised if he didn't, knowing the sort of support structure that BRS Coanda Simsport employs. But if he, for some reason, does not know the situation, he could be extremely on edge here as well as they work their way into the hairpin, getting ready to take the last 2 laps on this championship in 2018. But Yoni's done a good job closing the gap. I think it's going to be under half a second as they get 2 to go.
Yeah, Heikkinen looks really close here. And as you said, if the Coanda Simsport team and de Jong spotters are telling him, look, if Heikkinen goes for a lunge here at the hairpin, just let him through. It'll still be enough for you in the championship. Because Hart and Fox have taken a joker. Heikkinen one more time into the hairpin. Oh, he's been so respectful. He gives de Jong a little love tap, doesn't he, through the traction zone, and just lets de Jong, you know what, you look like you're going to win the championship, but I'm still here, and I'm still here to contend.
Oh, he's going to send it down here at the hairpin, though. Is he going to be close enough? No, he won't. But Yoni Heikkinen, that's 2 or 3 times now we've seen it in this feature race. They take the white flag on 2018 that Yoni has gotten close enough and given Mitchell a bit of a, hey, I'm still back here trying to fight for 10 grand as well. And as Yoni gets not quite as smooth as landing as he'd hoped for, they're going to come off the gravel for the penultimate time. One more gravel trap left to go in 2018.
Mitchell de Jong has driven splendidly, and he is on his way to be the first ever world champion crowned for the inaugural iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series. Here he heads to the final corner for the final time this season. One American named Mitchell de Jong is now champion for 2018 for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series. What a season it's been for the American. Joy and jubilation for the young man from California. And Randy, Heikkinen challenged him all the way down to the wire here in the final race and the final laps, but it wasn't enough. And that just goes to show that De Jong, 3 race wins to end the season, has been in form, as we'll see hopefully some celebratory burnouts.
Yeah, he's definitely going to, I think, burn it down for sure, is Mitchell De Jong. And we never like to talk about bias here at RaceSpot, but I definitely just heard a fangirlish scream come from the production booth. Mr. Higualuit, a longtime teammate, longtime friend of Mitchell, know that he's going to be very happy to see his friend somewhat follow in his footsteps and bring home one of these world championships. Didn't get it in the McLaren, though, the way Hugo did in the Williams, but Mitchell is a very, very happy man to be $10,000 richer. And let's just hope he can find himself a real ride going into 2019 to go with all these virtual ones.
And there is Mitchell De Jong celebrating here at the final corner. What a championship it's been, and so happy for the young man from California. I mean, he's one of the most mature sim racers out there, and he is your champion for 2018, as we said. Let's have a look at your final race results for the final time this season. Mitchell De Jong not only wins the feature race, but wins the championship in style, just half a second ahead of what has been a great championship challenger in Joni Heikkinen, who will be hungry to win again in 2019. Harth rounds out the podium for the final time. Johan Harth has been in splendid form. He did win last round, for those who may have missed it. And the race clutch driver finds his way into the podium. Josh Fox in the 4th position cements 3rd in the championship. That's $1,500 of cash for Josh Fox as well. Phil Diaz in the 5th position. Great result by Phil Diaz. He looked ever quick today. And Logan Clampett, who just found his way in the final laps to the feature race, ends up with a 6th position. Michael Guest for the Nexus Esports team will end up in 7th, followed by the 2 Fusion Racing drivers of Garrett Lowe and Stelian Cheplevsky. Cheplevsky had some drama during the event and even rolled on his roof. Still managed to find the finish line. But for Georgi Zadzon for Zed Racing, the Hungarian is out of the race in the 10th position. Randy, Mitchell De Jong, $10,000 richer as well. Heikkinen, $3,000 richer. It's a win-win for both of them in terms of cash, but Heikkinen, who we'll speak to shortly, will certainly be disappointed not to win the championship.
I think he will, but I think he has to have his head held high, because let's be honest, I think coming into this championship, I don't think any of us were really expecting anyone to be nearly as close to Joni Heikkinen, or excuse me, to Mitchell De Jong as Joni Heikkinen was. I think a lot of people were expecting Mitchell to just sort of come in and raffle stomp this series and, just sort of win every single week and, make off the $10,000 check. But, Mr. Joni Heikkinen there, I mean, he took a real-world lights champion all the way down to the final round, an X Games winner to the final round, somebody who's won some fantastic races. Heck, he has run 1 Rallycross race in the snow, first time ever racing in the snow, and he won it. One of the greatest talents coming up in American motorsports, and Joni took him all the way to the final race in the form of racing he specializes in. That's a fantastic performance, I think, from one of the quietest Finns you'll ever find. The Finns are pretty quiet.
We'll speak to Joni Heikkinen in just a second time, but we have your champion for 2018 for the inaugural iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series, Mitchell De Jong. Not only a championship to your name, you're $10,000 richer as well. That feature race, God, your heart must have been racing. Congratulations on the championship.
Thank you very much. Yeah, you're right. Before this, I felt kind of the most at peace before joining the race, and I think for some reason, which is totally counterintuitive, you'd think it'd be the opposite with how tight it was, but that helped a lot in just staying calm and qualifying and in the heat race, and just trying to be as prepared I could for the heat that Joni was going to bring. I knew, I mean, as you can see in qualifying, how close the entire field was, really. Just such small things is like, the world of difference. Starting 2nd or 3rd here is almost game over already. So yeah, it was really intense dealing with that. I kind of took the risk of taking the Subaru again, just because I had only a couple days to prep for this one. So I just kind of went with what I knew. I knew that it was going to be a struggle again in the final when the track's worn against Joni, who's super good with the VW and a worn track. And I just tried to get qualifying together and then hold on for dear life, knowing that he was right there. So I can't believe it. It feels so good.
And talking about Joni Heikkinen, I mean, what's been so tough about him this season? He's such a quick Finn, and he made your life miserable there at the end on the worn track as well. But throughout the whole season, I mean, he almost had the championship. Unless if you didn't get on that good run of form in the final few races, we'd be crowning him a champion right now.
Yeah, he did a great job, absolutely. No, he definitely made a big jump from Pro Series and before that even, at the start of the World Championship one. And, you know, there is that limit that you hit, that ceiling with this type of racing where now everyone's really on the same pace, especially when it comes down to driving in similar conditions. And what it really comes down to at the end of the day in the race and qualifying is who can put it together at the end. You know, I think if you look at everyone's optimals and all of that for qualifying, we could improve maybe a tenth, 2 tenths if we really put it together. But really, when it comes down to that, being on the absolute limit, it's, you know, if you looking at qualifying when it's separated by 15 or 16 thousandths, it's, you know, that's nothing. So the big thing with this is, you know, consistency and trying to run at that level on that limit and at this level without making mistakes and being consistent is so tough. You know, right before Sonoma, even kind of after a couple races in, like around round 4 or 5, was already stressed out. Like, you know, other series I have to spend a lot of time on, and you know, I'm starting to lack a bit of practice and prep for these races. So, you know, I was getting stressed that we'll see how well we can still do at the end of it, but. Yeah, I have to give a big shout out to my teammates and everyone that helped practice and prep with me for these final rounds, like Bobby and all those guys and all my other teammates for kind of helping me get back in form and comfortable again. So big shout out to them. It made a huge difference.
And finally, for the final time this season, who gets it done for you from, not just for yourself personally, but from the VRS Coanda SimSport team?
Yeah, of course. I want to say big thanks for all my teammates that stayed up watching. You know, we had Martin Fichalis, Philip, Andy, and Tommy, and a few other guys. It's very late for them, so really appreciate them staying up. It's felt really good to have their support. My family for always supporting me through this long season. And yeah, Philip for doing great work again with the strategy, being right there, managing championship points and everything. Yeah, of course, all our other partners, Virtual Racing School, Huizingfeld Engineering, Anwar Design, SimQuip, VTech, Dual Real Timing, of course, you guys, RaceSpot and Lord.
There you go, Randy. That is Mitchell de Jong, your 2018 iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series champion, and you'll be alongside what has to be a very respectful championship challenger in Joni Heikkinen, who ended up in second.
Yep, very respectful indeed. So respectful, he made sure to give Mitchell a couple of hello taps to the rear bumper during that one. But Joni, I know that you were coming into this final race as the underdog. What was sort of your mindset coming into this? Did it sort of all hamper around potentially snagging pole position and qualifying, or what was your mindset coming in? What did you think you had to do to win the championship from the start of the session?
Yeah, I think I need to win every quali and heat and final, so then I should be champion, but can't do it. So congrats to Mitchell. I think results never lie. He deserves this, and yeah.
We've been talking about. I mean, it's been such a big talking point that we have someone who has, you know, reached such a high level in Rallycross in real life, running in this championship regularly, and you know, for him to be so highly contested going into the final round for the championship. What did it mean to you being that person to take someone who has been such a strong up-and-comer and really done this, you know, at the top level and shown what he's capable of? What did it mean to be the person that took him to the brink and potentially stealing away this championship in 2018?
To be honest, not much. I didn't win him, so can't be happy, but yeah, he deserves this, and that's what I can say. I didn't win him, so don't deserve anything.
Well, thank you for joining us, Yoni. Once again, congratulations on what was an amazing season to watch. You were one of the most fun drivers to watch across all the World Championships, and this is one of the most enthralling championship fights to watch across all the World Championships. Before we let you go, who gets it done for that Sim Gear Volkswagen that we've grown so accustomed to seeing up near the front of these fields?
No, thanks to you guys. Thanks to iRacing, and yeah, hopefully I probably will drive this series on next year too, but hopefully my main focus will be on real cars, so let's see what happens.
Well, there was your second place finisher tonight in the championship as well as in the feature event, Joni Heikkinen. I think somewhat frustrated Johnny, but at the same time, it's hard to read the emotions of any of the Finns. He could be ecstatic for all we know. But we still have one more interviewee, and that's Mr. Stelian Chepelevsky, who finished relatively deep down the order in 9th, so not the way he'd like to end this season.
No, and I have to say, first of all, for Joni Heikkinen, I mean, it is the heat of the moment right now, and you always want to sleep on these kinds of things, but the one thing I've always learned in sports is you want to sort of sleep on the championship, but even if you lose a race, you're sad for a day, but when it comes to a championship, you sort of, if it really means a lot to you like it does for Joni, you could probably feel the emotion already at the end of the race, but nevertheless, he said he'll be back in 2019, and he'll be ever strong, of course, as well. Another driver who'll be back hopefully next year as well will be Stelian Chepelevsky. Stelian, what happened at that event? You were on your roof, and you still managed to cross the finish line.
That was crazy. Eh? I found that tires in front of me, and I kept the speed as much as I can, but there was no space anyway to pass either way, left or right. So I pushed the tires, jumped, but I think Michael was behind. He also couldn't react on this situation and pushed me. So I ran over my roof and I was thinking, no, I have to put my car on my wheels because I have to finish this one. Yeah, crazy stuff. The entire final was all about going around those tires in the middle of the road. It was just crazy. I feel like something must happen, something iRacing must do with those tires, and they don't move so much in the middle of the road because that really broke the racing.
Oh, I thought you were going to say more.
Nah.
Final thing is, you had a good season there, nevertheless. What was your favorite moment of the whole championship? Was it the middle round this season at Daytona? You could have potentially won that race. Was it another spectacular moment for you?
Actually, my favorite moment is this because finish, and I really hope next year I'm gonna have better luck because this year my performance was really bad.
Yeah.
I had super bad luck, and I make like several really bad decisions while few races, and I'm gonna work really hard till next September, and I hope I need a little more luck and everything will be fine.
So who gets it done for you from Vusion Racing and the team? This will be the final time that you'll get to thank Vusion this season.
Yeah, Vusion forever. I love this team, and I have to thank everybody actually in the team and Darian for the brilliant colors he made for us, and I have to thank you guys for the brilliant stuff you do every race, and iRacing, of course, for the service. The brilliant Rallycross they bring to our service. So, yeah, I love Rallycross. I love Rallycross, and just my dream became true. I can race now, like everyday rallies.
So that is Stelian Chepelevsky, who came home in 9th in this feature race, and also 4th in the championship in the end as well for Chepelevsky, who had a brilliant campaign. Now, Randy, there are the final race results on screen. And Mitchell de Jong, winner for the feature race and champion, of course, as we mentioned. He's $10,000 richer. I should have suggested for Mitchell earlier to use those $10,000 to take a trip to Hawaii or something and just take a break, because he's had such a tough 2018 campaign in all the world championships he's competed in.
Well, Mitchell lives down in Southern California, so that's about as close to Hawaii as you're going to get. So he needs to, go somewhere cold like the Arctic or something to know what it's like for his competition, Yoni. But you're right. You know, it's going to be interesting to see what these guys do over the off season, and especially going into 2019. Of course, we have the first time where we get a new cycle of drivers out and then back in with the pro system. Johnny, it's going to be a fantastic offseason and be really interesting to see how this Rallycross develops and see what kind of new tracks we may even get as well.
Yeah, I'm really excited. Atlanta, one that was hopefully going to be added to the calendar next season. I'm just having a look at the championship standings for the final time this season. There was Chepelevsky, as we said, in 4th. Johan Harth and Garrett Lowe, 5th and 6th, have been ever impressive. But look at Randy, that's how strong Chepelevsky's been. You know, he hasn't won a race, but he's ahead of 2 other race winners in 5th and 6th.
Yeah, and that's what consistency can sometimes get you. Now, granted, Stillion's not had the greatest consistency this season, as he's been, as he even said himself, sometimes on the wrong side of luck, sometimes got the wrong side of the car touching the ground. But I think, like I said, I think he's going to be potentially in it for the championship next year. Josh Fox, he has the talent to do it. I mean, you look at that top, in that top 10, I think there's 5 or 6 names that have a chance to potentially, take this to the championship if they have things go their way. And it's going to be, I think, really fun to see which guys actually show up next year and can really up that consistency game. Then we're going to be in, maybe instead of trying to follow 1 or 2 people through this championship situation, we're trying to follow 3 or 4 cars through the final race.
So that is it for the championship this season. What a fantastic season it's been. There are a lot of people to thank as well. And you know what? At risk of leaving anyone out, I'm not going to name any names, of course, in specific. But
we'll to the universe.
To the universe. We'll thank the entire iRacing and RaceSpotTV crew for their support of the series, the drivers and teams, as well as anybody else that contributed to what has been a fantastic inaugural season of the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series. Thanks to all our lovely viewers and audience for joining us for today's broadcast. I am Jonathan Simone alongside Randolph Cheneth, Hugo Luis in production. We have been your team for the entire season. Have to say thank you as well to Cam Walsh, who has supported the team as well on social media throughout the 2018 campaign, as well as Istvan Ballo, Andreas Werner, Simon Grossman, and Nick Thiessen for all their work behind the scenes in terms of camera, overlays, development, and live timing, of course, too. Because this, for the final time in 2018, has been a RaceSpotTV presentation broadcasted on the iRacing Esports Network. Mitchell de Jong is your champion for 2018. For the final time, we say so long from Daytona.